he was the big global political figure, African political figure that there was. And although at that time, and I was born in 1978, so I never saw till 1990 what he actually looked like in terms of how he was then. I'd seen historic photos. He was just with you. And I think also, I suppose, from a personal point of view, from a mixed race family, the idea that in South Africa, my mother would have had to go and sit on one bench and my father would have had to sit on another was just anathema.
Extraordinary.
It was anathema. And thanks to the people of South Africa, because he's them, he is of them, he is their man, but really the whole world has sought to have a piece of him, and we owe a lot to them for that.
Which certainly is what the family said today. And Chris, we have got this footage back in 1990. As you said, Chuka, it's the first time the world has seen what he looked like when he came out of so many years in prison. And of course, 1990 was also a very important year for you, wasn't it, Chris? Because you won one of your gold medals in the 400-metre hurdles in the European Championships. I mean, there he is there. Did he have much of an impact on you around that time? Are you aware of who he was?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I stand here very proudly now in my African clothing. And, Mandela was a massive African man that the whole world was looking up to. Now, he represents all that's good about humanity. And, I was a young man then striving to achieve in my arena. And this was a young man who, actually had lost a lot of his young life being incarcerated, being free. And the phenomenal thing about is when he comes free, he actually has no axe to grind, he's not angry, and he shows all that's good about humanity. And that's something to look up to. And so one of the things from sport, you don't look into role models, don't look up to role models, you look into them. He's a good man to look into.
And I know, Chuka, as well, for you certainly if you didn't meet him, you were there in Brixton, weren't you, back in 1996? Again, we've got footage of this when he came to Brixton, which I suppose you were certainly then, if not now, called the Black Capital of the UK.
Brixton,
what was that like for you? Was that a pivotal moment?
It was just incredible. I mean, there was such an energy there. I think I was doing my A-levels at the time, so it was a nice respite from revision. And as you can see from the pictures, there were tens of thousands of people on the streets in Brixton just to grab that glimpse of him. And when he got to the top of the stairs before he went in there to the recreation centre and just waved, there was just this soaring roar of love and adulation for the big man. And he just had, I mean, look, politicians watching this need to learn because he had that touch where he could just connect with people. And touch them and feel them.
And Chris, another, for me, a spine-tingling moment was back in 1995 when he put on that Springboks jersey when, of course, South Africa won the World Cup and he went onto the pitch.
Absolutely.
I mean, that just shows, doesn't it, how important sport can be in terms of transcending boundaries and uniting a country.
Yeah, it was a massive unifying factor. You had black men and white men competing on the same pitch. You've got Francois Pienaar, and I just love the humility again of Mandela as he puts on the number 6, really unifying, saying, we are one, and the whole nation could really rejoice in what South Africa done as a nation, regardless of colour, creed or religion.
So, and I'm sorry to push you, but which bit of his life will you take into yours, do you think, going forward? How will you remember him or adapt your life to how he led his?
I think the thing that he really provides a lesson is, I think too often, and it's been interesting listening to the world leaders, Tony Blair's one of them, who's talked about him today, because although many have said, look, he wasn't a saint, he was ultimately a politician. But I think what he teaches us is that so often I think politics is reduced to the trivial. When you report on it and you see all the jeering, but actually it wasn't just about what he stood for, it's how he did things.
And Chris?
And as a leader, he said, in the good days, take a back seat so others can take the credit, and in the bad days, when it's tough, you should be in front, so you take the danger. For me, that's business about leadership.